Recording in progress.
Alright folks, good morning. Welcome to our mobility and flexibility class. We will be starting on our chair today, and then we will be progressing into some standing stretches. And when we do our standing stuff, we'll go back and forth between some balance work and some stretching on the chair. And then lastly, we'll finish with some balance work and stretches on the floor. So we'll save the floor stretches for last. Okay, so if you have any questions, feel free to unmute yourself or just type it in on the chat. But let's go ahead and begin. So we'll start with our stretches here, looking left to right. Okay, so left to right. We're going to skip the facial exercises this time around just because we could get a little bit more done by doing stretches on the floor. I feel like sometimes we skip some stretches. We're not at time, but hi Michelle, hi May. Up and down. So gently, we don't want to do these too fast. Neck circles. So just gentle. And then just be mindful that the weather is getting a little bit warmer, so just make sure you're hydrating throughout the day. Make sure you're drinking plenty of water, electrolytes too. Try not to drink all of your water just in one sitting and then you ignore the water cup the rest of the day. Switch. You just want to drink consistently throughout the day. Just gentle. Let's go ahead and turn to the left and add a little bit of pressure to our right jaw with our hands. So just apply pressure there. Let's switch, so turn right, apply pressure on that left side. Very good. Alright, let's go ahead and sit on our left hand. Bring our right hand over. Allow the weight of your arm to stretch that left side of the neck. Switch. Sit on that right hand. Lean on the left side. Pull with your left arm. Very good. So both hands now come to the top back side of your head, and then now pull your elbows down. Try to keep your back up against the backrest of the chair. Just gently pull down. Very good. All right, let's go ahead and start with some shoulder work and some upper body, some upper back movements here. So let's do some snow angels here. Now let's go ahead and push up towards the ceiling. So try to stretch your arms as high up as you can. You might feel that underarm area. Stretch it a little bit more. Just reaching. Let's lean right. So your hips don't move. It's just you're reaching with your arms. Let's go left. So left side, reach. Left side here. Very good. Relax. We're going to go ahead and work a little bit on our shoulders and our elbows. So we're going to have our palms here and then just reach up and then down. So working our chest a little bit. So you come in and go wide. Very good. All right, next we're going to go ahead, palms back. Okay, so behind you, and then come up and push down. And this is for your elbow joint. Try to stretch all the way down. Elbows at your side. Okay, right here. Then we're going to do Poliquin lateral raises. So here and then come up and down. Alright, very good. We're going to give our upper body a little bit of rest. Is anyone a little tired from that? Does it feel like you're getting a good stretch? Alright, see some nods. So before we get really fatigued from that, let's get on our feet. And like I said, we're going to go back and forth with some balance work here. Alright, so again, just Romberg stance. Feet are here right next to each other. So we're not wide, we're just right next to each other. Right here, and then just try to feel any sensations. Maybe your arches are aching or your ankles are sore. But try to see if you detect any of that. If you don't, then great. Alright, we're going to look left to right. Up and down. Alright, close your eyes. Just remember, if you don't feel safe, just open them and separate your feet. Eyes are closed. Go ahead and open them. Alright, we're gonna go ahead and do slow high knee marches, okay? So for these, we're just driving our knees as high as we can, and we're doing these slowly, okay? So we're not doing these too fast, just slowly. In your hand position, really, you could have them wherever. You could have them here, you could be up here. It's just whatever's comfortable. My arms are a little bit tired, so I'm just resting them on my hips. But the main thing is that we want to drive that knee as high as possible. So again, we're getting some mobility on our hips, but also improving our balance. When I'm on my right foot, it shakes a little bit more than my left, so you might notice that. Very good. Alright, we're going to go ahead and do a quad stretch. So again, you could always hover over a table or a chair, but you'll grab right above your ankle and pull back. So you could always hover your hand over the chair. And if you don't really want to become too dependent on that chair, just hover your hand maybe half an inch over it. And when you feel wobbly, just push down on that chair and you should be fine. So, and then back down and switching. Yeah, my right foot's a little bit more, it's less secure. Awesome. Alright, we're going to break that up a little bit more. Okay, we're going to go ahead and then stand here. We're going to do semicircles. We're going to drive that right leg forward and then draw a half circle and then come back and then in reverse, backwards, half circle and then back in. Okay, we'll do 4 of each. Back, semicircle and back. Two more. And last one. Okay, we're going to switch. Left side, left ankle, elevate, back, in, and then in reverse. Oh, a lot more wobbling. Okay, last one in each direction. And we're gonna go back to the chair right now, okay? Give our feet a little bit of a break. So grab your chair. We'll continue over here. Alright, so I'm just gonna rotate my chair. I'm gonna start with some shoulder circles. Okay, so this is good for your posture too. We're gonna go up, forward, down, and back. So try to make the biggest circles that you can with your shoulder. Now in reverse. Very Very good. Alright, just relax those shoulders before they get a little too tired. Alright, let's go ahead. Bring your hands together. Fist up, head down, push forward. Come back. Again. Look down, push forward. Come back. Repeat. Again. Again. Repeat. Again. And one more. Very good. Awesome. Okay, just gonna turn here. Gonna have both forearms up here and go wide and then close. And do 8 of these. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Alright, very good. Alright, I'm going to sit forward in front of my chair because I want some room behind me. So I'm going to bring my elbows to my side, and I'm going to try to bring them back behind my back, and then relax, okay? Almost like if you're trying to connect your elbows behind you. Okay, so reach, and then relax. Reach. Relax. Continue. Reaching. Relax. Again, reach. Relax. 2 more. And last one. Very good. Alright, let's go ahead and we're going to do our cat scratching. So this is where I'm sitting towards the front of the chair. I separate my knees from each other, reaching up to the ceiling, keeping my back straight, elongate, keeping those arms all the way down and come back. Okay, so let's do about 8 of those again. So reach and come back. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, one more, and 8. Very good. I'm gonna do a couple more sitting down before we get back on our feet, okay? So let's go ahead and do our opposite shoulder tap. So just here, it's one of the easier ones. Let's go ahead and bring our arms up here with our thumbs facing into our shoulders. So you're in this position, and we're gonna push up and down, up, down, down. Keep on going. Three more. Last one. And down. All right, very good. Let's go ahead and use our backrest. So use the base of the chair, the seat, and the backrest, and just gently rotate to the right Reach a little bit more. Very good. Let's turn left now. So again, knees are facing forward. Grab the chair at the base of the seat and the backrest and rotate. Reach a little more. Very good. All right, we're gonna sit towards the front of the chair. We're gonna do hip openers. So right knee, bring it out to the side. Okay, and before it collapses, put your hand there to prevent it from collapsing. Keep your torso nice and upright. And just do some comfortable breathing here. Breathe through your nose, out through your mouth, whatever's comfortable for you. Right, switch. So left leg now comes out to the side. And again, keep your hand there. And relax. Okay, let's go back on our feet. Just trying to separate the movements so we don't get too stagnant or comfortable. So let's go right foot in front of your left. So right foot in front of your left. And we're just here. Okay, so this base structure is a little bit more less forgiving than the square of our feet next to each other. So you might find it a little bit more challenging. Let's look left to right. And again, you could always hover your hand over a chair or a counter. Up and down. Remember, if you don't feel safe, just separate your feet. This one's a little challenging for me. A lot challenging. Alright, we're going to close our eyes. So remember, just be safe. So open your eyes, separate your feet if you don't feel safe. Open your eyes. We're going to elevate that back foot. So elevate that back foot. Just elevate it. We're here on one foot. And then slowly we could drive that knee up. And then swing it back. And down. Okay. Very good. Just relax your stance a little bit here. Alright, let's elevate the right foot now. And let's do your ABCs. So trace the letters of the alphabet here. So gain some ankle mobility as well as some good balance work. Done there, let's switch. Very good. All right. We did our right foot in front of our left. We're going to do some standing stretches. We're still not done with the chair, but we'll separate the balance work right now, okay? So let's go ahead and just, we did our right arm. Let's do trunk rotations. So just gently turn left to right. So we did the static version where we are on the chair just posing, using the chair for support, but now this is more active. So if you were to go on a walk, get ready to move a bit more throughout the day, I would recommend doing stretches that you move, such as this one and the one on the chair. But if you just want to get a good stretch, the ones on the chair definitely are worth your time. Let's do ab circles. So hinging at the hip, keep your back straight, come across, pump back, and repeat. Over here. Keep it going. One more on each side. Alright, let's go with big hula hoops, so big giant hip circles. Just exaggerate the movements here. And then just FYI, Wednesday's supposed to be the warmest day this week, so I think somewhere in the 90s. So switch, which will be a first for us here, and if we're along the coastline. If you're a little bit more inland, you might have hit 90s, maybe even 100s already. So big hula hoops. Okay. Alright, we're going to go ahead and do our hip openers. So this is standing, more active than the ones on the chair. So driving your knee up, out, down, up, and down. Okay? Just continue with those. If you're ready to switch, go ahead. So doing 4 on each side. Last one. Very good. Alright, we're going to go now with our left foot in front of our right. So let's go left foot in front of your right foot. We'll be done with most of the balance work after this series. Just have more stretching. Let me just here. Let's look left to right. Left, right. Up and down. Alright, this is where we close our eyes, so play it safe. Open your eyes, separate your feet if you don't feel comfortable. Open your eyes. All right, now we're gonna elevate that right foot, okay? So right foot is elevated. Now slow high knee drive. And back. Back. Last one. Very good. Awesome. We're gonna finish the rest of the stretches from the chair. We're back on the chair. One final time. Grab some water if you're thirsty. I want to make sure that we're feeling good. Alright, so back on the chair. So we're gonna work on our hands, okay? So let's allow our wrists to collapse past our knee. So again, applying with the top hand, pressure downwards, and this hand wants to come up. You're gonna be stretching out, working out your forearm, okay? So push down, apply pressure for about 4 or 5 seconds, and then let it relax. Switch. Do it again. Relax. You're gonna do 5 of these. Again. One more. Very good. Alright, we'll work just on the right hand first. So now let's bring each finger to the center of our hand without bending the knuckles. So bring each finger to the center of the hand. Alright, now let's go and do the same, but now bending the knuckles, okay? So you should be bending one finger at a time. And now the other's fingers want to follow. Let's just do one finger at a time. Alright, now let's close your hands and separate. So try to web your fingers away from each other. Close, web them out. Close, web them out. Repeat. Right. You're gonna switch hands. So relax that wrist past your knee on the opposite hand. Again, apply pressure downwards. Allow that hand to come up, but continue to add pressure. 2. And just push, push, push. 3. Add pressure. 4. Again. 5. Very good. Alright, next we want to bring each finger individually to the center of the hand without bending the knuckles, okay? So just keep each finger straight. Alright, now let's bring each finger individually. Make sure your knuckles are bending now. Alright, let's make a fist and separate your fingers away from each other. So make sure there's gaps. And relax. So, and then just to share with you folks, when I used to work at a physical therapy office with folks that had wrist injuries or arthritis on the hands, one of the other exercises our doctors would have them do is we had a bucket full of rice, and we would get our hands in there deeply and then just open your hands in there and close. So the separating has the force of the rice working against it, so it's strengthening, and as you're closing, you're trying to close that grip. So just something to suggest. And I think we had another bucket either with sand or a mixture of rice and sand that also made it a little bit more challenging. But for anyone dealing with arthritis, that was one of the exercises we had in there. So, so moving forward, let's go ahead and get our right ankle on our left knee. This is going to be for our piriformis. So this could be enough of a stretch already. So let's keep that in mind. So gentle push down on that right knee, or just rest your elbows on it. Just want to feel that stretch a little bit more. Let's bring that knee up. Just hug it out. And then holding that, I'm gonna feel that stretch coming up through here. Let's go ahead and switch. Left ankle on that right knee. Let's apply a little bit of pressure downwards on that left knee. And let's push down gently. Let's bring that knee up. Very good. Alright, we're just gonna recline, sit towards the front of the chair, lean back, bring that leg close to your chest, and do some lower leg extensions. Do about 10 to 12 of these. Alright, let's switch. All right. Very good. We're going to do some heel raises. We don't have too much left from the chairs. So heel raises. Just your feet are flat and I'm just raising my heels. Alright, now I'm going to raise my toes. Let me bring this camera down a little bit. Toes up. Alright, we already did our ABCs standing up, so we don't need to do those anymore. But let's go ahead and bring our toes, so keep your feet flat, and bring your toes towards your heels, okay? So scratch the floor, toes towards your heels. Alright, very good. Alright, I think I've asked you in the past if you could get a golf ball just so we could roll out our arches. So if you have a golf ball or a tennis ball, go ahead and grab that item for me. If you don't have that item, maybe a water bottle or a canned good, like a can of beans or a can of vegetables could work. But ideally we want to go with like a golf ball or a tennis ball. So again, we have my item there. So I'll kind of wait right now. Give some folks another 30 seconds or so. Okay. Alright, so we have a golf ball. So if you have the golf ball, what I want you to do is just kind of massage it up and down. So roll your foot on it. If you have a canned good, you're not going to have as much mobility, but you could still roll your foot. But again, the golf ball's there, and I'm just going to roll, push down on it, and be as gentle or as aggressive as you feel like that you could tolerate. But I'm just also, if you see my feet, you could see that I'm also not just keeping it flat, but I'm also rotating on the side. Okay, so I'm trying to get the sides too. And again, a little bit of pressure could cause some pain. So we don't want to get you injured. So just make sure that it feels comfortable. Now, I'm sure, I know I do, but if you also feel like a little bit of tension or sensation that's a little bit firmer or maybe even pain, I don't want you to apply pressure directly at the spot, but maybe right above it. So if you have a spot that's with some pain, just maybe go right above it and just push down back and forth. Okay, maybe right below it as well. So just apply a little bit of pressure. You might notice that maybe above it feels a little bit like it's doing a little bit more than right below it. And then let's go to the right of it, of that area. And again, if you don't have any pain on your arches, then good for you. Because I think there's some folks that have pain all the time. And then to the left of it, again, we don't want to put directly pressure on that area where there's pain, but just we want to work around it, okay? And then once you've done that, just kind of roll around. Okay. All right, we could switch to the other foot. So now I'm doing my left foot. And again, I'm just kind of warming up that area. Does anyone deal with pain on that arch quite a bit or often? So, okay, I see a lot of no's. Okay, that's good. So, I usually don't, but this weekend I did a very long run. I ended up running 20 miles with my friend on Friday. And I'm used to running a lot, but I'm used to running a lot on the dirt. And I did these 20 miles on the cement sidewalk. And I think just a change in terrain hurt my foot a little bit. So, all right, let's find that spot that's a little tender right above. So yeah, so right now my feet don't feel the best. So it's a little bit sensitive right now, right below. But yeah, but in case you ever, have a long day at Disneyland or just walking around, maybe you go to a party and you're on your feet all afternoon and evening. Let's go to the right. Oh, it slipped out. And yeah, if you feel that, then this will help. And what you could also do is freeze a water bottle, like one of those 16 ounces frozen, and then you could ice back and forth, and that would be some ice therapy for that to reduce inflammation. All right, very good, awesome. We could put the ball away. Let's go ahead and get on our feet. Okay, so if you have a broomstick, a foam roller, any item that's long that we could use to stretch our shoulders, go ahead and grab that item. I have my foam roller here. All right, we're here. Oh, almost slipped out. All right, we're gonna go and just warm up, left to right over here, gently. Now up and down. And then just rotating it this way. It's a little bit of shoulder work. Okay, we're gonna focus on that left shoulder. Okay, so left hand guides, right hand pushes, so left side. All right, let's go 30 degrees forward. Let's go 60. Ninety, right in front of you. All right, towards the back. So now we're pushing back on that left shoulder. All right, we're gonna focus on that right arm now. Okay, so left hand pushes, right hand guides. All right, so now we're going to the opposite direction. And I could already feel the weather shifting. This garage is getting a little bit warmer. All right, 30 degrees. Let's go to that 30. $60. $90, right in front of you. Towards the back. Alright, now let's bring the box or the pole behind our back here and then up and down. And then let's lift. Okay, and then right here, back in front, we're gonna go up and down. So yeah, so try to bring it close to your chin. Alright, and we could put this away. And we're gonna transition down to the floor, okay? So now we are on the floor. Okay, your yoga mat. Alright, so we're here on the floor. It's actually, we'll be here. Right, and we're gonna be belly down. So face down. We're gonna extend our feet and reach with our arms, okay? So we're head down, reach here, and just reach. So just reach in front of you with your arms, with your hands, and then reach behind you with your feet. Okay, let's go ahead and press, set your elbows right below your shoulders. Just resting here, this cobra position. Elbows at your side. Alright, let's press our hands where our elbows were and push up. Let's bring our glutes to our heels. Okay, so in one motion, bring your glutes back to your heels. Stretch your arms in front of you, drop your elbows. Alright, very good. So back on your fours. So wrists right below your shoulders, knees right below your hips. So from here we're going to arch up. So inhale, arch up, exhale, arch down, repeat. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Keep it going. Okay. From here, I want you to arch up and bring your glutes back to your heels. Drop down. Reset. Let's go ahead and shift our hands to the right. Right, so now your hands may be off your yoga mat. So you're gonna arch up from here. Again, look down, arch up, and bring your glutes back to your heels. You'll feel that stretch on your left side. reset. Right, and then go to the left side now. We're here on the left side. You're gonna arch up, glutes back. Reset. Okay. Come back here. Alright, we're gonna go ahead and lay on our side. Okay, so we're laying on our side here. We're gonna go ahead and bring the top leg, swing it as far forward as you can. Once you can't anymore, drop your heel. So don't worry how far you bring it, you just wanna go as comfortable. So we're here, as far forward, and then drop your heel. Okay, so once you reach, drop your heel. You're just gonna hold that static stretch. Let's go ahead and swing it back. So swing it behind you now. Once you can't go anymore, drop that heel. Alright, very good. We're going to switch sides. So now we're resting on your right side. So remember, you're on your right side now. You could just roll over if you're on the floor. And now let's swing that top leg, left leg, swing it all the way as far as you can. And then drop that heel. Feel that stretch on the back side of your hamstring. Swing that top leg back, as far back as you can. Just swing it back. Alright, very good. Alright, so we're gonna remain on our back here. Okay, so arms to your side or arms next to you. So what I want you to do is just, you're in the sit-up position and you're just gonna drop your knees off to the side without moving your back. Then back up. And again, just rotate, drop your knees. Four, five, okay. Alright, we're going to do similar to the chair stretch that we did earlier, but this time we'll have a little bit more range of motion since we're on the floor. So just bring your knee as high as you can up onto your chest, and then this time what I want you to do is, you see my foot, it's flexing back and forth. I'm going to just flex it as well, so bring it up high, and once it's high, flex it up here. Alright, and then relax, drop that heel and extend. I'm going to switch sides, switch legs, bring that leg up, extend it. Once it's extended, flex back and forth. that leg's gonna want to relax, so just make sure you still grab a hold of it towards your chest, otherwise it's gonna get away from you. Very good. All right, we have a couple more stretches, so I'm gonna go back on our side. So if you're on the floor, similar to what we were just doing. So this time you are gonna tuck in your knees a little bit more, okay? But you're still stacked. Stack your hands, right? Follow that top hand and just follow all the way back. Follow with your eyes and then follow it back. And that's one. We're doing 6 of these, okay? So just follow with your eyes, follow your hand, don't move your legs. That's 2. 3. 4. 5. And one more. 6. Okay. You're gonna switch to the other side. So again, tuck in your knees. Stack your left hand on top of your right hand. And once you've done that, you could begin with the book opener. So follow your hand all the way behind you. Reset. Continue. Reset, that's 2. 3.